Hello, everybody, and welcome into the show. Glad to have you along. Sorry for the delay. My name is Marc Farzy. This is the Farzy Show here at the Steven Singer Studios. Oh, my goodness, the week is coming to fruition. Training camp, guys are there, working out yesterday. Nick Sirianni running the show, him and Howie Roseman addressing the media with a dual press conference. Jalen Hurts addressing the media. We'll get to that. We got Ben Simmons news out there that is just bonkers, just absolutely crazy talk. And then we also have an interview coming up with our friend Geoff Mosher of Inside the Birds podcast. Sorry, a little technical difficulty trying to get the show ready today. We have a couple of clips from the news conference we're going to be showing a little bit later. Both news conferences, both that of Jalen Hurts and that of the dual press conference with Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman. We'll start today because today is the NBA draft, and we got a lot of things going on revolving around that. And as much as I want to talk about the Sixers and the number 28 pick and all that stuff, and who they could be going with at that spot, what really steals the headline is whether or not you feel that Ben Simmons will be a 76er after tonight. Adrian Wojnarowski was all over the story yesterday in terms of the Spurs being offered a package and the Sixers wanting a high asking price in return, including the likes of, 3 first-round picks, 3 pick swaps, including another young player that could possibly be involved in the package. All these deals that are coming out, including the one with Toronto that we talked about yesterday that would include the 4th overall pick in tonight's NBA draft. All these deals that are being reported right now that are out there, out in the open for us to dissect, are just bonkers. Bananas even. That's what these deals are. And the way I see it, this is how the negotiation starts. They don't need to trade Ben Simmons right now. They don't have to trade Ben Simmons right now. But here's what I know. They're going to trade Ben Simmons. The word inevitable. And by the way, I was trying to get Keith Pompey on the show. He's crazy busy. I was trying to get other Sixers writers. These guys are all over the place today in terms of what they have to cover and what they're trying to get done. I was trying to get you a 2-guest special today, folks. But it's pretty busy. Pretty busy. And plus, the other thing is we tape a lot of these interviews. And when we tape an interview, someone's always afraid that another piece of news is going to break before we air it. And I wouldn't air it. I wouldn't air the interview. I wouldn't use the interview if something changed. But bottom line is, this could happen tonight. I very much doubt that it happens tonight. But let me ask you this on our social media check-in a little bit later in the show, brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Do you feel that Ben Simmons will be a 76er after tonight? Yes or no? I feel like, yes, he will be a 76er after tonight. Because these deals are so crazy that I feel like it's just Daryl Morey trying to set the table for a deal down the line. I don't think he's serious about any of these asks. I don't think he's serious about any of these returns that he could be getting for Ben Simmons. I think he's simply trying to send a message to the league. We're not giving this guy away. We're not giving him away, and we're in no rush to do it. If it was a little bit lower of an asking price, a little bit lower of a return, then I think it was a lot closer to being traded tonight, him being traded tonight. I don't think it happens. I think we're getting closer to it, but the word inevitable that Keith Pompey's source used earlier in the week seems to be more and more accurate when describing what the future has in store for Ben. And Woj dropped the Woj bomb yesterday, saying that just a couple of weeks after the reports were that Ben Simmons and the Sixers were working together and how Ben didn't want to be traded. He wanted to stay in Philadelphia, and how the Sixers were going to give him an off-season workout regimen and all that stuff. After just a couple of weeks of that being the story, Woj puts the story out yesterday, but that both Ben Simmons' camp and the 76ers are, quote, in step with trading the 3-time All-Star out of Philadelphia. So now it seems like they're in cahoots to move Ben. Everyone's on the same page, and Ben Simmons has already played his last game as a 76er. And as far as what the story will be after that about Philadelphia running a guy out of town, that's fine. It's not even on my radar just yet, dealing with that argument, which is just stupid. But right now, I look at it and I think the Sixers are telling me, if they're that comfortable with trading Ben Simmons, they're telling me he's never going to develop into that legit MVP candidate that he is, I still think, very close to becoming. And the only reason he's not is because he can't get out of his own way and he can't expand his game. But if the Sixers are willing to trade him right now, that tells me that he's never going to get close to that. He's going to be this for the rest of his career. And I know there's other people that have made a similar comparison But when it comes to Ben Simmons, it reminds me a lot of what the Sixers went through with Andre Iguodala. In terms of having a guy that was a great defender, having a guy, Andre Iguodala's case was he was always aggressive, always attacking the rim, and that's where he really shined in defense and attacking the rim. But he never really got better until his last year here in Philadelphia with three-point shooting, his field goal percentage, his three-point percentage, his free throw percentage as well, kind of hovered around the same, with the exception of the three-point percentage in that last year, like I said. And then I look at Ben Simmons, and obviously he's a great defender. He's great when he decides to be aggressive. Much better facilitator, goes without saying, than Andre Iguodala. Andre Iguodala wasn't a point guard. But there are certain things that Andre Iguodala was good at when he came here, and they didn't really improve on. Same thing with Ben Simmons. Some things he was really good at, even great at, even a better player than Andre Iguodala, don't get me wrong. And he'll leave here not improving upon what he was good at when he started his career. It also reminds me a lot of Donovan McNabb. The things we watched Donovan do early on in his career, he was still good at the end of his career here in Philadelphia, but he never really got good at those other things. The touch pass, you never really saw him get good at. The worm burners we always reference with him, he never really got good at. 2-minute drills, not really that good at. Those were things that he never really improved upon. And I think of those three names here in Philadelphia, Ben Simmons, Andre Iguodala, and Donovan McNabb, as guys that never really got better than where they were when they started. And that's what I look at with Ben. And as close as I think he will be to being that legit MVP candidate, as close as I think he can be, the Sixers are telling me right now it ain't happening. The improvement that we'd want to see from a guy that is already a 3-time All-Star and he doesn't shoot, you're never going to see him take that next step. And the Sixers being this comfortable with trading him right now on draft day, and most likely before the season, are telling me that step is never going to come for Ben Simmons. So if that's how Daryl Morey feels about it, if that's how Doc Rivers feels about it, is that how the 76ers as an organization feel about it, I can't help but think that they kind of know the situation better than I do. It's the one time I'll concede that point. And I got to be even more comfortable with the idea of moving on from him. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the actual return is on the trade. So we'll continue that conversation. We'll let you hear from Woj as he was talking about it yesterday on ESPN, and we'll make sure we cover all our bases as far as that is concerned. Also on the docket today, unfortunately, the Phillies, they didn't play a game last night. Was looking forward to Zach Wheeler going out there. I know producer Jim, for all you people in the chat, was looking forward to going to the game. But unfortunately, the Nationals have a COVID issue they're dealing with, so they decided to postpone the game. This after Trey Turner tested positive, and they had to pull him from game one of this 4-game series against the Nationals. So we'll continue to follow that story. Training camp, oh, man. A lot of stories surrounding everything going on in the world of training camp. When I look at everything that went on yesterday, and Geoff Mosher was down there from Inside the Birds podcast. We're going to make sure we get all we can from Mosher as far as that story goes, all the stories that surrounded training camp yesterday. But this is the one that surprised me the most. Here's the back page of the Daily News today, ladies and gentlemen. Zach Ertz. I mentioned I was at his charity event. Just a way, not so. They wasn't raising funds; it was raising awareness for some of the work they want to do in the community in North Philadelphia. And I didn't see Zach because he wasn't there because he's got training camp. I didn't know he dyed his hair or he bleached his hair, but here he is. And I got to say, the Daily News did a great job with this. Hair today, gone tomorrow. Question mark, of course. Daily News always seems to do a great job when it comes to the back page headlines, especially in the sports section, obviously. I still don't think he's going to be a member of the Philadelphia Eagles as we get closer to the season. Howie Roseman said yesterday he expects Zach Ertz to be here week 1. And what else is he going to say? No, we got a trade in the works. No, we're dangling him out there with any talk with Deshaun Watson or anything like that. As much as that's probably true, Howie's not going to come out and say that. I still don't think that he's going to be on the team. I was reading my friend Dave Zangaro's piece on NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com about his way too early roster prediction at training camp for the 53 and all that. He didn't have Zach Ertz here on the roster. He also didn't have Deshaun Watson on the roster of the Eagles. But I don't see it. I'd like for it to happen. I'd like for them to have two Pro Bowl caliber tight ends in Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, but I just don't think that's going to be the case here in Philadelphia. But you'll hear a little bit later or you heard yesterday Howie Roseman talk about how he expects him to be here for week 1. We'll see if that's the case. You also heard Nick Sirianni talking about the mechanics of Jalen Hurts. We'll get to that a little bit later in the show. And overall, how the Eagles really look at Jalen Hurts as a guy that they're waiting to take the reins as a starting quarterback. As I told you yesterday, they weren't going to name him the starting quarterback, but they certainly were going to have him run with the ones. And he's earned that. He's earned the right to run with the ones right now. He hasn't earned the right to be QB1. He hasn't earned the right to be called the starting quarterback. And when they were asked that question yesterday about when they will label him the starting quarterback, Nick Sirianni said, well, I guess we have to wait for Atlanta, which is week 1. And he's right. That's the only time. Until then, all the speculation, all the rumors. Derek Gunn, by the way, adding to the rumor fire yesterday, confirming all the reports about Deshaun Watson, that the Eagles are that interested in Deshaun Watson and bringing him here to Philadelphia. So right now, the Eagles just don't want to be put in a spot. And we'll give you a little bit later on, after we talk to Geoff Mosher, a little bit later on, we'll give you concrete evidence that the Eagles right now have no intent of Jalen Hurts being their QB1 really when the season starts. And maybe we'll ask this question another day. And I asked this question, I put it this way with Mosher in the interview. Who will start the most games for the Eagles this year? Will it be Joe Flacco? Will it be Jalen Hurts? Or will it be Deshaun Watson? Because if you look at it right now, I think QB1 week 1 will be Jalen Hurts. Because I don't think Deshaun Watson's getting out of all this mess that he's put himself in. I don't think he's getting out of that without any suspension of any sort from the league. So I think what we're going to see is, a 2 to 6 game suspension for Deshaun Watson, which means Jalen Hurts will get 6 games to show what he could do, put on film, and then maybe the Eagles will trade him maybe in the offseason, whatever it might be. Or they use him to actually bring in Deshaun Watson, and then you have Joe Flacco start maybe 6 games for you to start the season. However this plays out, I think the guy that's going to start the most games for the Eagles this year is going to be Deshaun Watson. Not who's going to be the starting quarterback week 1, because ultimately that doesn't matter when you consider the suspension factor. But right now, that's my guess. I think the safest bet is a guy that's not even on the roster yet, a guy that's property of another team, as they say. But we'll get to those. We'll get to that sound coming up after we talk to Geoff Mosher, because I want to let you hear everything. One of my favorite ones that I'll just give you a little snippet of is a question asked of Howie Roseman, where he was just asked for the confidence level. What's the confidence level you have in Jalen Hurts? And hey, everyone listening, everyone watching, what's your confidence level in yourself? High, low, whatever it might be. That's a confidence level. High, low. Howie Roseman just goes out there and states facts and states a resume. Never once comments on how high his confidence is or how low his confidence, or whether he has any confidence whatsoever in Jalen Hurts. All right. I'll give you conclusive evidence after we talk to our friend Geoff Mosher. Right now, let me tell you about my good friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Looking to get engaged, looking for a big present, looking for something really nice, you got to go to Steven Singer, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right in Philadelphia. Here's what Steven likes to do. If you're getting engaged, this is what Steven likes to do. He likes to take away all the excuses you might have about not getting engaged yet. Oh, the ring's too expensive. It's too hard to find. It's too hard to shop. I don't trust a jeweler. I don't want to have to go in there and negotiate. Steven takes all those excuses, puts them in a ball, throws them out the window. You know why? Because you go in every single day at Steven Singer, you get the perfect price, so you know you're not going to get taken advantage of. You know you're not going to pay too much for a ring. And his Ready for Love diamond engagement rings make it so unbelievably easy to get engaged. No excuses. No excuses. And a real jewelry expert is standing by at the ready to help you along the way in your jewelry journey. How's that? So go to the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right in Philadelphia, or IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. And make sure you check out all the inventory that they have, because it's just beautiful. The diamond engagement rings, diamond earrings, tennis bracelets, all the big jewelry purchases that you're looking for right there at Steven Singer. You know you're going to be taken care of like family. My friends and family that I send there always come back with great rave reviews. Rave reviews. Oh, it's not just you bolstering a friend or a sponsor. It's the real deal. And that's why I love promoting Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. The real deal every single time. Perfect price every single time at IHateStevenSinger.com in the other corner of 8th and Walnut. So make sure you check him out. Without further ado, let's jump on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line and talk to our good friend, Geoff Mosher of Inside the Birds podcast. And joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line from Inside the Birds podcast, along with our friend Adam Kaplan, our good friend of the show, Geoff Mosher. What's going on there, Moshe?
Marc, how you doing, man?
I'm having a fantastic day. I think I might actually be having a better day than Jalen Hurts, simply because one of the great things, people always say, oh, you're doing your own show, you have no boss. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of cool. I think I don't miss the office politics that happen in any corporate setting. Radio is certainly not excluded from that. But when you have your boss in Howie Roseman do a press conference where he gets asked point blank how much confidence he has in you, and he starts talking about the offensive line, the running backs, the wide receivers, the tight ends, Zach Ertz's age, everything but the amount of confidence he has in you, that really can't instill too much confidence in you if you're Jalen Hurts. What was your take on that whole press conference?
He might as well have been asked about the price of tea in China because his answer was about as, to the point as you would expect Howie Roseman's answers to be at this point. And I will say this, that it sounds bad because it was relative to Jalen Hurts and the starting quarterback, and everybody has that question in mind. And everybody knows, obviously, including Jalen Hurts, about the backdrop of Deshaun Watson. But in all fairness, there were several questions at that press conference to both Howie and Nick Sirianni in which the intention was to get a specific answer, and what came back was a lot of a circumlocution, which is just all over the map. Let's not, if you had asked Howie and Nick if it was Wednesday, the day of the week was Wednesday, they may have kind of told you that, well, it's the middle of the week. It depends on what calendar you're using. Is it Roman? Is it Greek? Is it really Wednesday? Is that just a label that we give a certain – you know what I'm saying? Like
right, yeah.
Every question is like that. That's kind of typical of the first day of training camp. But I can understand if you can interpret the continued declaration that Jalen Hurts is the starting quarterback now and forevermore. You're not going to get that. I mean, it's these things about Deshaun Watson are certainly true as far as interest, and we have to let the wheels of justice sort of continue to spin there. But I kind of understand where they're coming from. They're able to kind of set that ambiguous tone of competition at every point without having to declare anything specifically at a quarterback at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm with you. And that's why I always applaud Doug Peterson for a guy that just had a horrible year of press conferences last year. The whole Sam Bradford thing, he nailed as far as right now. Sam Bradford's our starting quarterback. Right. He always worked in that phrase right now, whenever talking about whether or not they were going to trade Sam Bradford, what they were going to do when they drafted Carson Wentz and all that. So I give him credit for that. So what's your take on this whole situation right now? Geoff Mosher, Inside the Birds podcast. When it comes to this Philadelphia Eagles team, who will be their starting quarterback week one?
I still think it's going to be Jalen Hurts because I don't see any other option other than Deshaun Watson, which it's hard as we sit here today with seemingly a story that comes out every week about accusers or where they're at. As far as the legal process, it seems to be going slow. Deshaun reported to camp with Houston. I think they had him like being a mock safety at one point, which is what the Eagles used to do with their like third string quarterback. I remember AJ Feely used to be a safety on the scout team all the time, and he didn't even have to run. It was like a look. So and David Culley, by the way, who's the Texans head coach, was of course the Eagles wide receivers coach under Andy Reid. So probably a stolen concept there. Nonetheless, it's either Jalen Hurts or somehow this Deshaun Watson thing may materialize. And what happens between now and then, Marc, I don't know. I think we're all in that, but we just don't know. I do think it's interesting that the NFL did not put Deshaun Watson on a commissioner's list or exempt list, which right, as I interpret and I've seen reporting means that they don't have enough right now to do that, which is interesting, knowing that the accusations have been there and that they've been looking into it. So I don't know what that means.
I have always been trying to figure out what the hell the exempt list is anyway, the commissioner's exempt list. I remember Greg Hardy was the first time I had ever heard about it. I think it was actually invented for him. I know other players have been on that list, and it's basically and I don't mean to downplay anything, but it's basically the NFL's naughty list. Like, all right, we're watching everything that's going on here with you legally before we decide what to do. I will say this. The NFL, I remember having a conversation with Adam Schefter some years ago about the NFL and what they're doing with their investigations, and they at least seem to be doing the right thing in this. They're out of the investigation business. They're letting this go to the authorities, to legal counsel, civil trial, whatever it might be. They're looking at it from an outsider's perspective. They're not doing the investigation. So that might be why this is different than many other cases that we've seen where they're not getting nearly as involved.
Well, I mean, guess not yet, right? I mean, they do have their council of, I guess, what they call independent investigators. I think Lisa Friel isn't part of that, if I may be getting the name wrong, where they have had people look into cases on their behalf, but are supposed to be kind of independent. I think that's how they did it with Ezekiel Elliott a couple of years ago as well. I mean, I still think at the end of the day, he's going to wind up facing a suspension, right? The question is, how long will it be? Is it going to be the 6? Is it going to be down to 4? Do they not have enough so that it only becomes 2 or 3? I don't know. And if it's just 2 or 3, do you trade for him with that, knowing that you got 13 or 14 games with him? Then a whole lot has to go. Like I said, there's so much that has to come out between now and when that would happen to really know.
No, I certainly hear you on that. As far as the other offensive spots here go for the Eagles, Zach Ertz being back with the Eagles and Howie Roseman saying he expects Zach Ertz to be on the team, in week 1. This team, all of a sudden, if some young guys work out, could have a lot of weapons for whoever their quarterback's going to be. It's all coming down to Nick Sirianni and his offense. I know you were down there at practice today for the first session of training camp and all that. Anything jump out to you about Nick Sirianni's first training camp session running the offense?
Well, as it pertains to Zach Ertz, yeah, I mean, he was out there. Obviously they were in shorts and shells for day one. We're not in pads here. I was very curious to see. I knew Zach was going to show up, but how much they use him, if they use him at all. He did get in there at times. There weren't a ton of reps for guys who play positions where there are other spots. It's not like offensive line where you're playing every down. Tight ends, receivers, backs, they rotate. So it's not like I got a ton of reps. But what I did notice, which I think is a little bit telltale, and obviously the real telltale sign is, does he practice tomorrow, the next day? What about when pads come out? Because my personal belief is nothing has changed as far as him wanting to be somewhere else and the Eagles wanting him to be somewhere else, but getting value in return. So what's interesting for me to look at is, and I didn't see it today. I tried to watch every rep as possible. I did not see a situation where Ertz and Dallas Goedert were on the field at the same time in the same formation. I saw 11 personnel with Ertz. I saw 11 personnel with Goddard. Now, if you were trying to sell the public on Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert are both going to be on this roster, and they're both going to play, and the best of our abilities would be to put them on the field at the same time in 12 personnel like Doug Peterson used to do, then you would think there would be some plays with both of them on the field at the same time, but there were not. Now, day one, who knows? I'm just saying that if you're looking for any telltale signs, you're trying to play detective, I thought it was interesting that there was only 11 personnel that I noticed on the field.
Well, if their practices are anything like their press conferences, they ain't giving you nothing, Mosher. They ain't giving you nothing.
Probably not.
Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor, those guys. Was Reagor in sneakers today? Is that what I read?
So that was really interesting. He came out. First, he didn't come out, and then he came out and started warming up with the team. And then as soon as they did more than warm-ups, he left. So they said he had I forget how they diagnosed a lower leg injury. They said day to day. It's my understanding that it's very minor, that he might be back even the next day. So, or today, perhaps. And it's not it's more precautionary than anything. As far as Devontae Smith, it was not his best day. You were hoping that the first round pick was going to show up, catch everything, look like Terrell Owens, and really give the whole package. And, he said it in his own press conference. He wasn't satisfied with his performance. He dropped a couple of balls, which is like not what he did at Alabama. And his routes, it didn't look like a clean, crisp separator on day one. Now it's day one. I wouldn't be too concerned about it. I do think that for kids like that, big time picks or who have a lot of pressure on them, you press a little bit on your day one. And then when you're thinking a lot, it tends to make you, look slower out there on the field. So I'm not worried about it after day one. But I will be honest with you, it was not a very good practice for him. Nor was it one for Jalen Hurts.
I would expect. Oh, okay. So Jalen Hurts wasn't so sharp either.
No, he was look, he tried to thread the needle a couple of times. They mostly did red zone stuff on day one. So he tried to thread the needle to Gainwell at one point, got picked off by Josiah Scott. There was a play where he rolled to his left, tried to kind of do a pretend tuck like he was going to run, then stopped and threw it to Devontae Smith in the left corner, and Darius Slay was all over it, broke it up. He did throw a touchdown on the next play to Smith in the other corner. But overall, and I will say this and until I'm blue in the face, right? For the I've been doing this 15 years, right? The first 5, 6, 7 days of training camp practice, the defense is usually ahead of the offense because there's less timing, rhythm, syncopation things on defense than there are on offense. So it's not abnormal. I'm not slamming Hurts. I'm not slamming Smith. I'm just telling you what it was like on day one.
I would expect nothing but honesty from you, Geoff Mosher, as per usual. When can we catch the latest episode of Inside the Birds podcast with you and Adam Kaplan?
Yeah, Thursday morning, 6 a.m. We drop Monday and Thursdays, 6 a.m. So we'll have a recap of some of the, things that have gone on with the Eagles over the last few days. And we'll be doing that throughout training camp. And probably when the season starts, we'll go back to our 3 podcasts per week, format. But right now, Monday, Thursday, 6 a.m.
All right, last thing for you here, left tackle battle, if you will. Andre Dillard, Jordan Mailata, only 1 day in the books, but who do you think is going to end up taking over that left tackle spot?
I think it's going to be Jordan Mailata. I do. And look, anything can happen. I thought he came into camp looking like he's in pretty good shape. It seemed like at the OTAs, he may have, looked a little bit bigger than they wanted, but he certainly looked the right size here in training camp. He did rotate on day one with Andre Dillard. You expect that they're going to do that. I just feel like the upside is a little higher. If this guy can be as much, kind of add to his pass protection, he's already a mauler. He's already pretty good against the bull rushers. He's a massive human being. Whereas Andre Dillard has to show who has naturally great feet, good pass protector against the speed rushers. He's got to show he can hold up to the bull rushers. He's got to show he can be a punishing run blocker. It seems like he has more that he would have to show than Jordan Mailata at the moment. That's not to say he can't do it or he can't bridge the gap, but you're asking me today, so I'm telling you, I would think Jordan Mailata, it's his job to lose.
Well, there you go. That's the right now thing that you just worked in there. The Ray asked me today, right out to Jordan Mailata, starting left tackle.
A lot of wiggle room. That's what we do. We talk with wiggle room.
I will say this. I know I asked the question, who will be the starter week 1? When it comes to who will start the majority of the games for the Eagles in the 2021 season, I'm thinking it's Deshaun Watson over Joe Flacco, over Jalen Hurts. Do you think that would be a safe assumption?
It's so hard. I mean, okay, look, I'll add to your, if somehow he is cleared and these maybe some of the allegations come down, maybe there's a settlement. There's a lot of talk about a settlement, right?
Yes.
And within that talk of a settlement, there is a discussion, or there's a point's been made by, I believe, Rusty Harden, the attorney for Deshaun, that he wants no NDAs. He wants to be able to disclose, which is the opposite. Usually you settle, you don't want anybody to know why you're settling or what the cash is. He wants that out there. If that winds up being true and happening, that there's a settlement where he gets to push his side of the story out there, unless these guys are the biggest idiots in the world, he and his lawyer, you would have to think that there's a reason and intent that their side of the story will show something different or much less, I guess, grueling as or egregious as what's being alleged. And if that's the case and there's really not a long suspension or it's a little, then you can see this all happening, right? But that's a lot of if right there that I gave you.
I got you. No, I thought the same exact thing, Mosher. I thought the same exact thing. Make sure you guys catch the latest podcast, of course, the latest episode of Inside the Birds podcast with Adam Kaplan and Geoff Mosher right here as the new episode drops at, it already did, 6 a.m. at the time we air this, my friend. Geoff Mosher, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate the insight.
You got it, brother. Have a good one.
Absolutely. Not that you need it, but keep applying that suntan lotion when you're out there in the, the training camp, the beaten sun, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I will try to avoid the media exempt list as well. I like being back in good graces.
My man, Geoff Mosher, Inside the Birds podcast. Thanks, Mosher.
See you, bud.
Once again, thanks to Geoff Mosher joining us there on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line, talking all things Eagles. Mosher at training camp yesterday, making sure everything was falling in, falling in well under new head coach Nick Sirianni, and doing a great job. Make sure you check out that podcast later today with him and Adam Kaplan about all things the first day of training camp. and all that great stuff. All right. Coming up in a second, the conclusive evidence that the Eagles have zero commitment to Jalen Hurts. We'll get to that. We got, what else do we have here? We got Adrian Wojnarowski on tonight's NBA draft. And what else do we have? We got the asking price for one NBA team from the Sixers to them on Ben Simmons. So we'll get to all that coming up in our morning rush. But right now, let me tell you about our good friends at Rothman Orthopaedics. Rothman Orthopaedics, if you have orthopedic issues, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Visit them in one of their 30-plus locations in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, including 4 orthopedic-only urgent cares. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. I meant to get you this picture. It's incredible. If you're not following Steak and Maine, Anthony Cavada, Steak and Maine, my man Tony Cavada on social media, Instagram, for instance, you got to do it. He had like a lobster sushi John going on there. It looked amazing. It was like the head of lobster, and then the rest of it, it was all in sushi form. It looked incredible. I wanted to throw my face into it. That's how great it was. You got to check out Steak and Maine. Look up some more information at steakandmaine.com in the heart of Northeast Maryland. Whether you like to dine in the more upscale steakhouse or casual bar and patio that they have right there, no matter where, you'll enjoy the highest quality of prime meats, fresh seafood, world-class oyster bar, and freshly prepared sushi. All that in an extensive, exclusive wine list that they have with Cavada Cellars Wines. Cavada family, from his family to your family, right there at Steak and Maine. Open every day for lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Steak and Maine in Northeast Maryland voted #1 place for steaks in this great country by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. I think they know a thing or two about steaks. Check it out for yourself at steakandmaine.com for more information. And how about our friends at PHLSportsNation.com? PHL Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all blogs and social media. So make sure you check them out, PHLSportsNation.com. All right, now the moment we've all been waiting for here, folks. Let's start it off by letting you hear for yourself. Now, I want you to keep in mind here, I want to pull up the Eagles press conference dialogue. So every press conference that they have, they actually type out all the quotes in the transcript and all that. So I want to make sure that I have the proper transcript in front of me here. This is about yesterday's press conference and areas of growth from Jalen Hurts and his mechanics, as well as what he has to do in this prove-it year. I'm going to let you hear the question and the answer, so you hear all the context. And you tell me if Howie does a good job of explaining to you what he wants to see in this prove-it year from Jalen Hurts. Here's Howie Roseman on that yesterday.
As far as Jalen Hurts goes, this is kind of viewed as a prove-it year for him. I mean, are there any tangible benchmarks that you want to see him reach to say, yeah, he's our guy going forward into 2022?
Well, I think first at the quarterback position, you want to make sure you're doing everything possible to have that room successful. And so that starts up front. And when we look at our team this year and talk about what we're really excited about, it starts with the O-line. You know, obviously part of our lack of success last year was the O-line and the injuries that they have. We have a lot of resources at that position. It's really important to us as we build our team. And you see it today, you know, having Brandon out there with Lane on the right side. I mean, that's huge. And so if we could start with the offensive line and make sure that those guys are playing at a really high level, that's going to help everyone in the quarterback room. And then from there, talking about the skill position group. And so most of these guys, the receiver group, the running back group, besides Zach, the tight end group, those are young guys, you know, and so they get a chance to grow and build together. But it starts with the offensive line and making sure that we're looking ourselves in the mirror and saying, can we fairly evaluate the quarterbacks because of who's protecting them and the weapons they have around them.
What? What was it? Jalen? No, nothing. You didn't. It was about Jalen Hurts in a prove-it year. There was nothing in there that was remotely involved, remotely describing Jalen Hurts' play. Instead, he talked about the offensive line. He named, if I counted correctly, he named the offensive line, running backs, other skills, wide receivers, tight ends, and then he talked about the quarterback room as a whole. There was no answer in there describing Jalen Hurts and what he needs to do for a prove-it year. Nothing. And you know why that is? Because they don't want to be tied. They don't want to be called to the carpet after they make the trade for Deshaun Watson. But you said this about Jalen Hurts. It's very simple. We talked about it with Mosher a second ago. Right now. That's it. And it's funny to me because it's football we're talking about here. And I know it's their business, it's their livelihood and all that. But it's like you're being this secretive about a trade that is like the worst kept secret ever. It really is just, I find it wildly entertaining. By the way, this is our morning rush. I haven't forgotten you wonderful people on our check-in. We're going to get to the check-in in just a second. I wanted to make sure I gave you this version of this fresh content before I checked in with you guys to see what else you think. So this is our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. So here's what else you got. This is from Jalen. This is Howie Roseman again, now on Jalen Hurts' standing with the team. Again, another tap dance.
Following up on the quarterbacks, you guys have been linked to one specific quarterback pretty consistently. It's leaving some uncertainty, at least in the public view, as to where Jalen's standing is on the team, whether you guys are going in a different direction. I know that you can't talk about a specific player on another team, but can you address just kind of Jalen's standing and exactly how you guys are operating in respect to looking at quarterbacks?
Well, I think we talked about Jalen and how he's done everything possible off the field and during the spring practices to take the reins. And we want to see him do that. I think this is a big year for any player who goes from year one to year two. And so we're excited to see that and see his growth and working with the ones. And hopefully that happens. And I think that, one of the things that I always find kind of funny is that whenever there's a name bandied about, the Eagles are kind of associated with that, and I understand because we have more high draft picks going forward, that's probably going to be continual as players become available. But, we draft these guys for a reason. We're really excited about the development of them and excited to start practice here.
Last one, Marc.
Like what? They're just dancing around is all they're doing. I don't know why I find this so unbelievably entertaining. It's like, well, we know what you're doing. And you know what, Howie, I give him credit. That's actually a pretty decent answer there. We're involved in every trade that's out there. What, are you kidding me? You know who I am? I'm Wild Howie Roseman. I'm making deals all over the place. So, of course, our name, the Eagles, are going to be mentioned in any trade that's a possibility. Deshaun Watson, everyone knows he's going to be traded from the Houston Texans. And, yeah, you know what? If it's going to be traded, then guess what? Yeah, of course, we're a potential landing spot. I actually give Howie a lot of credit for that answer. Good for you, Howie. Now, I know that we're going to be talking a lot about this until it actually happens. But make no mistake about this. I want to make sure I'm very clear. I think I've done a terrible job of being clear on what I'm about to say here. I would love to see Jalen Hurts as the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles for the next 10, 20 years. That's what I would love to see that. He is a remarkably easy guy to root for. I think he's a lot of fun in his interviews. I think he's a lot of fun on the football field. I think he has a great combination of arm strength. Like him to be a little bit more accurate. But hey, look, if there was ever a year to grade a guy on a curve, it would be last year. For a rookie, last year would certainly be that year to grade him on a curve. But you never want to believe that the guy that's going to be the quarterback of the future isn't already on the roster. So I'd love to believe he's already on the roster. I like the guy's attitude. I think he approaches everything wonderfully. And I would love to see him be here for a long time. I think he's an entertaining guy on and off the football field. And he puts in the work. Yesterday, he went after practice, took all the receivers and made sure that they were throwing passes, make sure he talked about it afterwards, how he's intent on doing that, to make sure that they walk off the field feeling like everybody's on the same page. If they have a rough go of it during practice, he wants to make sure that's not the taste left in their mouth when they're leaving the practice field at the NovaCare Complex. And that's exactly what a leader should do. So Jalen Hurts gets asked, and you know this voice is Howard asking, Jalen Hurts gets asked about all the chatter surrounding the trade talks for his position right now with the Philadelphia Eagles, and here's how he handled it.
How much do you think about all the chatter that goes on about a possible trade, not mentioning any names, and obviously...
What chatter?
What's that?
What chatter are you talking about?
Well, a quarterback from
There's
another team.
a lot of chatter that goes on.
Yeah. Well, a quarterback from
above
another
it all.
team.
I'm above it all. I'm above it all. Control what I can. I'm here. That's what I'm doing. Go out there and be the quarterback for this team.
I was talking about it with Giannis. I know it's become a national conversation with Simone Biles. I wish her all all the goodness in the world. We talk about mental health a lot of athletes. Giannis should be applauded for his mental approach to his sport. Jalen Hurts right now, as a guy that's going to his sophomore season as an NFL quarterback, a guy that's going into his potentially realizing his dream of being a starting quarterback, QB number 1 from the get-go, from Jump Street of a season, and that being threatened by all the trade conversation, all the chatter, and he says, I'm above it. I'm going to control what I can control. That's exactly the mindset you want any athlete to have. That's something to look up to. This is a sophomore quarterback, essentially, in the NFL. A guy that started, 4 games? And he already has that type of mindset, that type of maturity. You tell me that's not a guy you can root for. Good. You know what? Good on you, Jalen. I'm rooting for you, man. I'm rooting for you. I hope you're the guy that's going to be the starting quarterback here for the next 2 decades, let alone the first 6 games of the season, whatever it might be. I'm rooting hard for this guy. I'm hoping he pulls it off. I'm hoping that the Eagles trust him to at least give him that opportunity and also hold on to those 3 potential first-round draft picks. So very impressed by what he had to say. Very impressed by the work ethic of staying after practice to make sure that everyone felt like they were on the same page and walking off the football field yesterday, the practice field, feeling like they did some good work out there yesterday. So credit to Jalen Hurts for all that he said yesterday and all that he did in practice as well. So I think he's an easy guy to root for. Away from football, I want to jump back into basketball for a second as part of our morning rush here, and then I'll jump in, close the show with our fine comments. I see you guys are all over the place per usual. I think you guys are really looking forward to me going to Colorado for one reason. One reason, and we'll get to that in a second. Adrian Wojnarowski put out a tweet yesterday, but that tweet was preceded by this here. And this was a report. What the heck is that? There we go. This report here, NBA Central, if you're not following them on Twitter, a great follow right there, per Kevin O'Connor. And this is what he had to say. The 76ers wanted 4 first-round draft picks. 4 first-round draft picks, 3 pick swaps, and a young player from the San Antonio Spurs in exchange for Ben Simmons. That was the asking price for Ben Simmons. That is bananas, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I was referencing earlier. That is just bonkers. They know they're not getting that, but they are keeping the asking price extremely high right now for 2 reasons. 2 reasons. One, someone actually match it. Someone, oh yeah, sure, I'll give you that for Ben Simmons. Don't think it's happening. But I think the real reason, the second reason they're doing it, the real reason, the big reason, is simply because they don't have to trade him. They want everyone else to know that we're not going to give this guy away. If you're going to come to our table and ask for Ben Simmons, you're going to order Ben Simmons on the menu, realize that the price attached there is going to be really high. It's not going to be a matter of, okay, we'll settle for this, which is why I think this doesn't happen tonight. I think this is something that gets dragged out over a long period of time. I think it was Kyle Neubeck that pointed out yesterday that the Warriors deal with the picks that are attached to that, that's the one deal that if it does go through tonight, the Sixers miss out on a lot where they could potentially get back in return for Ben Simmons. So that's the one deal that might push something through, but I still don't see it happening. That was the tweet from Kevin O'Connor regarding Kevin O'Connor's comments on Ben Simmons. Woj then put out the in-step tweet, as I'll refer to it, saying that the both parties, the Sixers and Ben Simmons party, that camp, they're in cahoots with moving Ben Simmons on from the 76ers. So both seem to be okay with trading the 3-time All-Star point guard. But here's what Woj had to say yesterday going into today. This is yesterday on ESPN. Woj put this out on his social media regarding Ben Simmons and what could happen with him in the coming hours regarding a trade from the 76ers.
The Ben Simmons trade talks are really, they're going to be a storyline through this draft tomorrow night, and the Sixers have been canvassing around the league, and they are asking for a massive return for Ben Simmons. One GM described it to me as Harden-esque, similar to what Houston wanted in the talks that led to them trading Harden to Brooklyn. But Ben Simmons, his agent, Rich Paul with Clutch Sports, they're in step with the Sixers on this and trying to find a new home. Remember, he's got 4 years left on his contract. There is not necessarily an urgency that they have to move him by tomorrow night, but typically big trades are made easier around draft time when you have picks as part of trade packages but this is a trade conversation that could extend beyond Thursday and into the summer.
And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. This is going to go beyond tonight. I think it's very unlikely that Ben Simmons gets traded tonight. Hey, as far as I'm concerned, I'd love to see it happen tonight just because we don't have to wait. You don't have any more anticipation. But I just don't see it. I think this is something that, with the asking prices out there right now, I doubt the Sixers are going to be like, oh, yeah, San Antonio, go ahead and you give me 4 first-round picks or 3 first-round picks. No, I'm sorry. Let me throw that up again just to make – I don't want to misquote it again.
Ben Simmons trade talks are really – they're going to be a storyline.
Yeah, San Antonio, go ahead and give me
tomorrow night, and the Sixers have been canvassing around the league, and they are asking for a massive return for Ben Simmons. One GM described it to me as Harden-esque, similar to what Houston wanted in the talks that led to them trading Harden to Brooklyn. But Ben Simmons, his agent.
That's for sure. See, these are the technical difficulties I was having issue with. This is all on me, by the way. This has nothing to do with producer Jim, for people that want to just throw shade in the comment section. So anyway, that's something I think we'll see not play out tonight. I don't think he gets moved tonight. I don't think the asking price is 4 first-round picks, and then all of a sudden that goes down to like 1 tonight. I don't think that's how it's going to go down. So this is something that will drag on. I do think it's inevitable, especially with the most important thing coming out in yesterday's tweet from Woj saying that both parties are in step. So we'll follow that, as I like to say, throughout the evening, and we'll see what the Sixers do. As far as the draft goes itself tonight, Sixers are picking at 28 right now. We'll see what happens there. I know some of the speculation around what they could get is Josh Christopher. Josh Christopher. Could be getting him out of Tennessee at that spot. Jared Butler is another name that's out there from Baylor, national champion Baylor. He's a point guard, shooting guard. And another one out there is Trey Mann. Could be going out of Florida to the 76ers at that spot. So for all intents and purposes, it looks like the Sixers are going after a guard later in the draft, according to a lot of the experts out there in the mock NBA world. Let's get to the moment you've all been waiting for, your favorite moment of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to our social media check-in, brought to you by Steak and Maine at steakandmaine.com. First off, for everyone listening, everyone watching, everyone commenting, thanks for sticking with us in the first 8 minutes of the show when we weren't on. We got a little late start thanks to my technical difficulties, but thanks to everyone there for holding on. The question, I'll start it off with the poll question that we asked today, and that is whether or not you think Ben Simmons will be a Sixer after tonight. 54% of you thinks yes, he will be. 54% says Ben Simmons makes it through the night as a 76er. So we'll continue to follow that, as I like to say. April starts it off by saying good morning. Good morning, April. Jason, good morning. Good morning, Jason. Dan Schwartz likes himself some Geoff Mosher. Don't mind. April, Sealski has taken producer Jim again. No, it hasn't happened. Everyone's safe. Everybody's good. Jim, just shake your head. Luigi wants to know, do you babysit Sealski's kids? Does that happen? Oh, Inside the Birds checking in with Moshe. Good morning, gentlemen. We never go any further until he gets out of his head. He doesn't want to. He's comfortable with where he is as a player. April, I believe that's your analysis of Ben Simmons. You're absolutely right. Ben is in a state where this is who he can be for the rest of his career. He'll be an all-star. That's fine. But will he be an all-time great? Absolutely not. Not if he stays at this level. And that's the thing that's so annoying to me. As I've stated a million times already, you come into the league that damn good, and you don't take the skills that you're weak at and improve upon them. The skills that he was good at coming into the league, he's improved upon. Defense, he's become a better defender. I believe he's become a better facilitator. But it's been at the expense of any offensive aggressiveness to pick and choose. And also, by the way, let's not forget when he was interviewed by ESPN, let's not forget that he was offended at the fact that people refer to him as a non-scorer. When he referred to the 40-plus points that he dropped on Utah and Rudy Gobert and those guys, you know what he came out and said? Oh, yeah, well, I dropped 40 in that game, 42 in that game, but I'm not a scorer. So, yeah, you're not. You had one game where you were. But I don't look at a guy that's averaging 13 to 15 points a game and go, that guy's a scorer. And especially after what happened in the playoffs, and we all know what happened, the unspeakable moment. The moment for that will not be described again. Yeah, no, April, I think you should work in an NBA front office because that is one hell of a scouting report. Mally, what's going on? Mally saying hi to everybody in the chat. Henry, good morning, scoundrels. I love a scoundrel. You work at a scoundrel. I like scoundrel. I like scallywag. Those are two words that don't get used enough. I don't know the genesis of either of them, but scoundrel's a good one. Makes me think of one of the first comedies I ever watched, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Phenomenal picture. April, Mally saying hi to April. I like how people just say hi to April. You guys are such gentlemen. Let's see. April totally trade has spoiled behind. Jim spots with spread. Luigi, Marc, you should, in solidarity for Zach Ertz's charity, dye your hair like that. You want me to bleach my beard? I never experimented with the bleaching of the hair. That was a thing, and I saw some Pac Allen, CBS 3. He posted a video of his frosted tips. Who was E-Rock? Mighty E-Rock posted the bleached hair. My mind always goes to Pat Burrell. I remember Pat Burrell bleaching his hair when he hit like 202 in a season. And that's where my head goes. That's where my mind goes when somebody starts talking about the bleach. But that was the frosted tips. That was a thing. That was a big thing. I remember. Henry, Hurts isn't getting any support from the team. Yeah, you're damn right he's not. What else do we have here this morning? Everyone's checking in. Luigi's extra feisty today. Luigi is going at you a little bit there, Jimbo. Just to let you know. I don't know what that means. Yeah, Jason saying they don't want to be on the hook when they say Jalen Hurts is the starting quarterback. But that's just the thing. All you got to say is right now. I feel like you give the guy at least that much credit. All right, here we go. Now we're into the Colorado comments here. Imagine if they actually went. Dan is saying this is my thought process here. This is Colorado Marc speaking. Imagine if Inside the Birds podcast, okay? Imagine if they actually went inside of a bird for the podcast. There'll be no extracurriculars in Colorado other than cigars. There's a cigar bar in Denver that I was out for. I was out there for a bachelor party, and my flight got in really early, and I just found this cigar bar. I was like, I'll go there, I'll smoke a cigar or two, I'll enjoy myself, whatever. And I had the best time. I was there before everybody else. I had, like I said, a couple hours to kill. Found a cigar bar in downtown Denver. I don't know. I don't think Denver has a center city. I think they're a downtown city. Downtown. Oh, you go downtown. And I walked up, and there was a guy, a big old. I'll say it. The guy was rather rotund. He was a big fella, and he had he had a gray shirt on. He had a black leather vest, and he had a fedora with a feather that was about 3 feet long coming out of his hat. And he was just cigar in his mouth, and he was just sitting outside like this. And I walk up, and I'm looking at the place. I couldn't see the name of the place. And the guy goes, "Are you looking for cigars?" Yeah. "Are you looking for cigars?" And I'm like, yes, sir, I am. And he goes, "You come to the right place." And I was just like, "You're damn right I have." And I go in, spectacular. Dive bar type of feel to it. Humidor off to the side, nice long bar, nice bartender lady. And they had, this is a perfect thing, they had an old school Lavazza espresso machine that I thought was just an antique for show. And I, about an hour later, after my first cigar, I said to the nice lady, the bartender lady, and I said, "Does that work?" And she goes, "I think so." And I was like, "I'll take one if it works." And she's like, "Oh, this is the first one I've made." And I said, "How long have you worked here?" She goes, 6 years. And I go, "That's fine." So anyway, it was a lovely time. So I'll take part in cigars. Oh, the fun fact about that place, other than the old espresso machine, is that I think the only like Cuban certified cigar roller in the United States that's west of the Mississippi. Yeah, I think I described it accurately. Works at that cigar bar. So I enjoyed some fine cigars rolled by a master. Master roller, I believe, is the proper terminology. So anyway, that's what I'll be taking part in. Nothing else, unfortunately. What else do we have here? Craig's checking in on the show. Zach had one down season with a horrible offensive line, QB mess, and injury. Call me crazy, but Ertz is getting so much disrespect. Craig, I 1,000% disagree. I 1,000% agree with you. I don't believe the disrespect that's thrown at Zach Ertz. People harp on this one thing with Zach Ertz. He never stiff arms. You know, he kind of won that Super Bowl with a touchdown. That was cool. Remember when he did that? He won a Super Bowl with that game-winning touchdown. You know that only one person ever has done that in Eagles history? That was Zach Ertz. Tell me about that stiff arm one more time. Let's see here. There's a debate about Jalen Reagor and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, whether or not they're who's softer. I mean, you got to go J.J., right? J.J., like, Jalen was at least hurt. Jalen Reagor was hurt his rookie year. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside was just terrible. And there's one guy that has a picture of his mom holding an umbrella over him, and it's J.J., so I think that's where you got to go there. So Dan and Kevin, I hope I settled that debate that you have right here. Laugh out loud. That is an all-time photo, Dan Schwartz. We need a Photoshop of Farzy holding an umbrella over Sealski. He protects him way too much. Do I need to play the clip?
Dan and everybody in the chat, I am not an animal.
Yeah, there we go. What else do we have up here? Sunscreen advice. I did give sunscreen advice. You're right, April. I shouldn't have done that because I don't take my own sunscreen advice. Lot of people. Well, you guys got the chats coming in here. Cigar. Ronald's checking in saying cigar bar, Mark, cigar bar. Give it up. We don't judge. Cigar bar equals dispensary. I will say I've been to a dispensary in Denver. It was the same bachelor party. And I never thought I would have to tell someone who worked at a dispensary, hey, chill out. But this guy was like in our faces about our IDs. I guess because so many people were like from New York and Pennsylvania and Maryland that were out there for this bachelor party that he was like, hey, everyone get your IDs out. And I'm like, all right, dude, just chill for a second. And then getting to talking to some people, I found out, I realized why it was all, why he was so ornery. And apparently it's all cash. It's an all cash business. And I didn't realize that. So they got like a boatload of cash back there. So they got to be extra careful with people that they let in. So I guess that's why he was ornery. But still, he works at a dispensary. Like, chill out, bro. I see a Happy Gilmore reference in here. A fine film. And that's from Dan. I will say, you know the scene in no, it's not Happy Gilmore. It's Billy Madison. What the hell? I'm getting my Adam Sandler movies confused. Hey, remember Grown Ups 2? No, in all seriousness, when I hear Howie give those answers that he was giving about Jalen Hurts, my mind immediately goes to the scene in Billy Madison, where Billy Madison is just like, and that, my friends, is a revolution. Nib high football rules, woo! And everyone goes crazy. And then the guy looks at him and goes, there was no answer whatsoever that didn't even could comprehend anything, whatever. And he goes, may God have mercy. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. That's how I felt at the end of Howie Roseman's statements yesterday during the press conference, including the may God have mercy on your soul line. Thanks everyone that checked in on the chat. Always great catching up with you wonderful people. Ronald, April, Dan, Ian. What's up, Ian? Oh, have we found Benny yet? Is Benny okay? Are we losing Benny? We need to find Benny as soon as humanly possible. Benny, I hope you're okay, buddy. Thanks everyone that checked in on our social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine at steakandmaine.com. Getting a text from president of Buzz Sports and Entertainment. Grown Ups 2, one of the most underrated movies of all time, by the way. And you know why? Because it's Kevin James. And we have fan number one of Kevin James working behind the scenes here. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Always great. I'm going to be back with you guys tomorrow morning. I got to catch a flight at 8:45. We're flying out to Denver. We're taking a little toots. If ladies and gentlemen, if you have any advice for traveling with a just under 2-year-old, I'm all ears. I'm all ears. We originally scheduled it for a midday flight, thinking that would be her nap time and she'd conk out. Flight time got changed, so that didn't happen for us, unfortunately. But I will be with you guys tomorrow morning, despite that time. We will make it to the airport because I am a master at airport travel. So we'll make sure we get that done for you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My prediction one more time, Ben Simmons makes it through the night. as a 76er and gets traded later in the offseason, but we'll see what happens. Again, keep your eye on Jared Butler there at number 28 for the Eagles. Hopefully the Phillies are back in action a little bit later today, so I hope we get to watch the little Phillies baseball one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My thanks to Jim Hyden, who produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. My name's Marc Farzetta. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Man, eat more Eagles football, NBA draft tonight, and some Phillies ball as well. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take it easy.